What's up, guys? This is Matt Faircloth, and this is our YouTube channel. We're going to walk a property to see what's behind the walls of your rental property. It's an assumption that real estate investors have that their properties are properly insulated. People make the assumption that that's good plumbing, sewer lines in their walls, but a lot of times it's not. So Ryan, I've got all kinds of colors and different types of pipes going on that wall. What is this? This is the cool thing that people are doing these days. If you guys like what we do here, make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment below. All right, guys, the point of this video is to teach you guys what's behind the walls of your real estate, whether that's a fix and flip or a rental property or your own home. You might not get the walls open very often. Hopefully never do you have your walls open on your property. This, what we're standing in right now, is a 4-family construction site, and I'm using this site as one of our job sites to show you guys, and it's a bit of an education on what's behind the walls likely on the properties that you guys are working on or that you guys own now, just to make you guys better, badder, stronger real estate investors. Here to join me with the tour is my man Ryan Solé with Freedom Home Buyers. How many flips is your company on right now?
About 15 to 20.
15 to 20 flips. He lost count, right? 15 to 20 flips that his company's on right now. Ryan, you've done a lot of jobs like this, probably way worse, and you've seen what's behind the walls on a lot of different properties, right?
Correct.
You know, what do you think what the biggest common misconception is that people have?
Especially on older homes.
Yes.
Definitely, you don't know what's back there.
That's right.
So until you rip it open, you're just assuming since it's sheetrocked, everything's great.
Yeah.
And you close all the walls, and then you're good to go. You leave, and then you get hit with sewer line issues and behind the scenes stuff that you didn't account for.
I see two assumptions. One, they assume that everything that's supposed to be there is there, and they assume that what is supposed to be there is in good working order. And there's no way to tell unless you open the walls up. I'll give you an example. What's that? This is insulation. This is going to go into the walls. It keeps heat inside the box. You've done older properties up in New Jersey and Staten Island. You've encountered properties that didn't have insulation in the walls, right? So it's an assumption that real estate investors have that their properties are properly insulated.
Especially the older homes, you don't know when they were renovated.
Yeah.
They were ripped out, done incorrectly. And
aside from opening up the walls, is there anything anybody can do to look in their walls to see if there's good insulation in there?
As opposed to rip open the whole wall, maybe sometimes you cut a hole in the ceiling, you kind of get a feel for what it is, if there's any type of mold issues or non-installation issues, or actually pipes that's being properly ran and there's not holes through them. So things like that, testing the water prior to closing the wall so there's no leaks. And, the piping, if there is piping, stuff like that.
Yeah, they can do that. They can open up a little inspection port. You can even go down your basement, and sometimes in an older home you can look up and see what's in between the walls, maybe in between the floor joists or something like that. Okay, let's keep going. Let's take a look over here. We're looking at the walls. I've got some plumbing lines here, right, Ryan? This is my sewer line that's headed downstairs. This is all brand new PVC. People make the assumption that that's good plumbing, sewer lines in their walls, but a lot of times it's not. Without opening up that wall, I can run a camera through my sewer lines. So that's one thing you guys have to do without opening this up, to make sure this guy right here is in good working order, to make sure all the, not to be too graphic, but the things that you don't want in your home that you want to flush down toilets and remove from your properties, make sure they're nice and good working order. They make camera systems that your local plumber may have that can camera scope your plumbing lines. It's a good thing to do on properties you might be buying. Have you guys scoped lines before?
We do. So we do sewer lines. That's the main thing with us.
Yeah.
So if you have to dig out from your property all the way to the street, that could be a substantial cost. So we always do a camera sewer line. If it's blocked, we negotiate that in the price.
Right. Especially going out to the street. Yep. Because if this has a clog right here, I can open up that wall and replace that. Not so much under my sidewalk out front.
No.
Right.
There's a more minor, I wouldn't say minor, but that sewer line could be major.
Other things that are in the walls, guys, look all the way up there. See those plumbing lines? Those are no longer active. Those are inactive plumbing lines that probably went to a heating system or whatever. On an older property like this, you guys are going to have things in the wall that aren't active anymore, and that's okay. That doesn't necessarily need to come out because it's not in service. So don't freak out about oh my goodness, I've got to take out all these old electrical lines or all these old plumbing lines. But it's important to know, right, Ryan, what's in use and what's not. Now, we haven't used natural gas for lights in houses in maybe 100 years, right? But the plumbing was still there for those natural gas, and it's okay, because it's not connected to anything. It's all right. It's character, right?
Similar to knob and tube with the electric.
Yes.
Sometimes that could be dangerous, sometimes it's just there, but it's not active.
But it's not, doesn't necessarily be removed as long as it's not active, right? Knob and tube electric's a great example. That's something you saw a lot of here in the Northeast. Ryan, I got this hunk of metal. We have exposed duct in these properties that are feeding the hot and cold air to the units that are heating and cooling them, right? What's that?
This is a return duct.
That's a return duct. What's that?
This doesn't blow out air, this takes in the air to then siphon through the system and then blow out at different things. And
It's a two-way street, right? If you're blowing air in, you got to take it out, right?
And the problem with these is sometimes they're installed incorrectly, whether these are not put in, just say on the second floor or something like that, where there's no return. Now you don't get the airflow properly there, so you could do a $10,000 HVAC system that's not properly ran with the return ducts, and it could not actually blow out the air and heat the whole building.
This is one of those things, guys, on things that might not be in the walls that should be. If you want a properly heated and cooled house or apartment, you got to make sure that you have a return that's sucking air that's been heated or cooled back to that air conditioner so it can circulate it properly. The best way to do it is return at the top for in the summertime to pull the hot air out, and a return at the bottom for in the wintertime to pull the cold air out. That's the right way to do a return, but at least you want to have a return per bedroom to create that nice cycle of airflow. If you're having heating and cooling issues, first thing you want to look for is this guy. Let's go take a look at this wall over here for all the stuff going on in that wall. So Ryan, I've got all kinds of colors and different types of pipes going on in that wall. What is this?
So this is plumbing, electric, and a lot of the mechanical stuff. So usually the blue is PEX. Sometimes there's red in there as well. That's all plumbing things.
Yep.
That looks like a copper pipe with gas.
Blue for cold water, red for hot water, right? Yeah, there you go.
Red here, but that's the code for it. So they've been steering away from copper pipes and using the PVC and the PEX.
Well, this is a lot easier to run. I mean, this is
cheaper. It's better. It's
cheaper, goes together easier.
The electric and the gas lines.
It's important to know where these things are, guys, in your walls, because you've got your cold water lines. You've even got like your red wire up here. Your electrical red wire is typically low voltage for things like alarm bells and for doorknobs and that kind of jazz. And I've got this wire that goes to your electrical outlets, and I've even got the big gray wire. If you can see it up here, this stuff is hard. That's heavier wire that goes to electrical panels that are upstairs. I should know what's here, shouldn't I? Right? Because the screw could get right through that, couldn't it?
It can.
Yeah.
And that's why they usually put it within certain distance inside the wood. So if you happen to drill through, you won't hit it. And then you even have, I don't know if you see them here, the metal plates to protect that as well. But knowing where they are and then protecting the pipes behind the wall.
So before they sheetrock, they need to be putting plates here, because this is like that's really close to the edge. It's important to know what's in the wall before you go do work on your walls, right? Let's take a walk upstairs.
All right.
So Ryan, we got a few things going on here. What's this?
Yes, gas line.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, sometimes we see this in that yellow flexi pipe, but that stuff is really rigid because, it's one thing if I put a screw through a water line, but it's very, very different if I put a screw through this stuff. So it's good to know where these lines go. Obviously, because like I said before about putting holes in the wall, but it's also important to know so that you can do this, right? There's a shutoff valve, so God forbid you need to change out the dryer. It's important to know where the shutoff valves are to turn off your natural gas in your unit, right? Yeah. It looks like somebody spilled an orange dreamsicle on my floor, but that's not what happened. What's that orange stuff coming to the floor?
That is styrofoam fire stop.
What is that?
So if in case there's a fire, it's to prevent the fire to travel from one unit to the other or one floor to the other.
Yeah.
So that's per code. Once you open the walls, that has to be installed.
You want to alert people if there's a fire through smoke detectors and carbon monoxide, of course, right? So they can get out of the property. And then above all else, fire exists. People are aware of it. They need time to get out. So you want to slow the fire down, right? So this flame retardant things like this and things to stop the fire from traveling between floors and flame retardant paint on doors and flame retardant sheetrock and things like that are all there to stop the fire from spreading too fast. All right, Ryan, I got two things going on here. I got this guy and I got this guy. Let's start with the blue guy. What's the blue guy? What is that?
A pre-wire, so it's hardwired for a smoke detector and or CO.
Right.
So that's where, and up to code now is it has to be hardwired, where back in the day it used to be batteries were accepted.
If you've got a older home, you can have a battery powered smoke detector, but we're even transitioning now to smoke detectors that have 10-year life batteries on them, because it used to be back in the day, sometimes those things chirp at you.
Yep.
They start yelling at you. Wait a minute, what, you know, I have my tenants like, it kept beeping, so I took it down and took the batteries out.
Yeah.
So what's one way to make it do that, right? Well, with a hardwired system, it's powered, might have a battery backup, but it's powered from your main panel. And that, so even like they've got battery backup in case you lose electricity, it still has battery there to keep it going.
They'll pick up that on the inspection as well. If they're not hardwired, they all should go off together, and if not, they'll pick up and it'll fail.
It's a good way to find out if they're hardwired, right? And if somebody's telling you that you're buying a property with hardwired smoke detectors, push the test button. If they're hardwired, they all will go off all at once, and in harmony. They'll sing a symphony of beeping all at once, right? What's this?
That is a bracket for a recessed lighting.
Cool lights that flush right up to the flush mount right up
Some
to the
LEDs,
sheetrock.
some are.
Right. The point that I wanted to show this to you guys on is that you see these brackets, right? That means that this light is held in not by the sheetrock. It's important to know this. It's not the rock that's holding that light in. It's these joists here, the wood that the light is mounted to. So a properly installed light has brackets that are holding it up to the wood, not the sheetrock itself. Hey Ryan, come check this out. This is just a box here. Put an electrical outlet, they got typical electrical outlet height that has power to it, and it takes the power, and it also takes an HDMI cable from here and runs it through another conduit right here. So what I can do is I can mount my cool flat screen TV and have HDMI cable or cable direct going to it right on the wall, and so it looks like a cordless system. And this is really not a big deal to run from here to here, but you got to have open walls to create this, or you got to open up a little channel in your walls to build something like this. This is a super easy value add to do for you guys doing flips or rentals or whatever. I mean, what are we talking? A couple $100. Tenant can just plug right into that for their services when they want to mount their TV. Brian, thank you for joining us for the tour. One more time, what's the name of your company? I forgot.
Freedom Home Buyers.
Freedom Home Buyers, man. I appreciate you joining us today. Guys, if you guys like this property tour, you guys have questions about what's behind the walls of your properties, you want to offer some other insight, leave a comment below. And I got to ask you again, make sure you smash the subscribe button and hit the like button for this video. Appreciate you guys, and have a great and profitable week.